Hey guys, my name is Russell Linville. This is Become a Better Human Project. I'm a sports physical therapist and I'm doing these video series every Friday. It's called Functional Friday on how to perform functional movement patterns better. And this week we're talking about the carry. So I got some different objects here. And if you go back to previous weeks on a Functional Friday, I've already explained how do you maintain and brace neutral spine so you can do that hip hinge position. How do you do a lunge? And so now we're just adding on top of this, how do you do a carry? And so what we're gonna do is, I have some different objects, as I mentioned before. I'm gonna show you how to pick them up off the floor, how to carry them appropriately, what position does your spine need to be in, your hips, where do your shoulders need to be? A lot of people carry things, their shoulders are rounded forward. And so I just wanna make sure we're touching on some of these key points that I teach people when they're getting back to sports performance or rehab. So the first objects we have here is a kettlebell, and today what we're going to be doing is going over how do you carry something by your side, and then how do you carry something near your chest or maybe on your shoulder. In a very distant future, we're going to be doing overhead carry positions, but I want to get through some other stuff in the weeks to come before we get into a more advanced overhead carry position. All right, so today, let's start with the kettlebells as I was mentioning. You're going to get these, picture these as like grocery bags. You're getting out of the trunk of your car, or you're at the airport and you have to pick up, a piece of luggage, those sorts of things. These are 25-pound dumbbells, or excuse me, kettlebells. And I want to touch on some things. When we're holding this, everyone knows how to kind of pick something up right and hold it, right? You get this tension down through your arms. But what position does your body need to be in to be efficient and so that you can manage this weight a little bit easier? So if we put the weights in just a position that now I have a much better and easier time to get these off the floor, right? Before, if they were together, I would have kind of bent forward, I would have lost and broken my neutral spine position, and I would have hinged through my low back to pick these up. I want to make sure whatever we're picking up off the floor to carry is in a good functional position to start with so that I can maintain and protect my spine position, right? So there's two ways. Remember, we've already gone over the air squat. So you can just assume this position between, drop down into an air squat position, grab on and stand back up. Or, like last week we went over the lunge, you can drop down into that split squat position, that lunge split stance position, right? Grab on here, chest up as you go ahead and stand up. So once you're in this position, this is the tendency, this is the thing I see all the time. When you start to carry people round forward, and so from the side, what that looks like is this. I'm getting a little bit of this anterior tilt in my shoulder blade, my thoracic spine's broken, and then my pelvis kind of tucks under. So now I've lost all neutral spine position and my core stability is whacked, right? So what we need to do, the first thing I tell people is you need to squeeze your cheeks, right? So squeeze your butt cheeks, and then you need to pull your shoulder blades back. So you just need to retract them. As soon as that cue gets put onto the patient, the tendency here is that they automatically lift their sternum up, and now they're more stacked and more organized, okay? The other thing I try to get them to do, is I put these weights down for a second, is I try to tell them to think about turning their elbow crease forward. So as they're holding the weight, they're turning their elbow crease forward. That creates this tension through the shoulder girdle. Now we're in a nice stable position. It protects our shoulders from that traction that's being pulled on them, and it protects our back, right? Because it automatically organizes us from a top-down approach. When you squeeze your glutes, it organizes us more from a bottoms-up approach, right? So I'll show you the air squat version here. Squat down, neutral spine, stand back up. From the side, what that looks like, right? It's just a kettlebell squat. So if you've worked on kettlebell squats before, you're maintaining that as well. Down and up, same thing with the split squat lunge variation. And then you just carry, right? You pick a distance, or let's say you're carrying out of the trunk of your car the groceries in from the trunk of the car into the kitchen. Pick up the bags. If you're like me, you carry 19 bags at once because you don't want to make 2 trips. But next time you do that, neutral spine, rotate the shoulders, try to squeeze the shoulder blades, brace your core, and then begin to walk. Right now as you're walking, these kettlebells, the weight's going to shift. That's why it's very important to keep your core nice and stable and strong because this weight is going to alter your walking mechanics. So you want to make sure that you keep those nice and stable. So we move on to something a little different. Let's move to our med ball. Very similar approach here when you're getting it off the floor. You can do a squat, or you can do that split stance. So then what I want to show you first is how do you carry something at your chest level, right? So we talked about retracting your shoulder blades here to create some stability. Very similar, except we're going to use our arms to create some counter force here. So again, you squat down, try to pick that up, bring that up to your chest. And what I tell people is that now we're actually going to pull this object into our sternum, and it automatically creates some pressure through my spine, right? So we get some co-contraction of muscles. And this act alone of pulling this into my body creates a neutral spine, or at least, it creates spinal stability. So again, you're here, your chest is up, don't let that ball drop. Now we've, again, broken this position. So you need to pick a weight that's light enough for you to stay upright, but you're creating tension by pulling this through. Again, then you would walk or lunge or whatever a certain distance to either perform your workout, or if you're at a construction site or you're helping somebody renovate their home and they got weird stuff that they need to carry, furniture, whatever, you now know how to brace through your sternum to do that task. And then finally, we're going to use the barbell here. The barbell, I want you guys to think of as, let's think of it as like a weird object, right? Something that's, everyone's picked up that couch before that they have trouble carrying. They go up and down stairs. They kind of got to shift their weight, all those things. So I want to give this, I want to make this sort of that odd object that you're carrying. I used to be a painter's apprentice way back in the day. We have to carry these really long ladders. So that's where I first learned how to carry something that was a little longer and a little odd in weight distribution. So the big thing is you got to find the center of mass on these objects. So we get the barbell here. I'll get this up into a front rack position, which is just right here. And for the sake of our discussion today, I'm going to turn this to the side. So right now what you see is I've created 3 points of contact, right? I'm still bracing, creating a neutral spine. My core is tight. I'm squeezing my glutes. I haven't broken my spinal position. But I'm trying to figure out what 3 points of contact is going to create this center of mass being nice and stable, the widest that I feel comfortable doing it, right? If I'm way out here, this already is awkward. Now I want to break here. So I got to bring my hands closer. Now I feel much more stable. The same principles apply as those other 2 carries, where you're going to be trying to either brace by pulling the object into you, or you're going to be squeezing your glute, pulling your shoulders down, and trying to create tension through your system so that you can maintain spinal stability. Again, once you do this, all you do is walk, right? You're trying to keep this level, neutral spine position, lunge, whatever you want to do. So these are some tips on how to carry different and various objects. If you like these videos, subscribe. Every Friday is a Functional Friday. And so we're going to be going over things like rolling and a bunch of different movement patterns coming up here in the next few weeks. So talking about what types of planes of motion there are, what things you need to do to kind of mix up and change your workout, make sure that these functional movements, you're still maintaining good movement mechanics and efficiency while you do them. Again, my name is Russell Linville. This is the Become a Better Human Project. Subscribe to these videos. Thanks so much for viewing. Appreciate it.